Power of Three interview series. You and I, an expert, 3 questions, 3 action items, and 3 resources for you to grow your business, to improve your life. This is Roberto Monaco with InfluenceOlogy. I'm really excited to start this series with one of the most smartest people I ever met in my life, my buddy Todd Ballenger. How's it going, Todd?
Hey, man, doing great. Good to see you.
Todd, for those who don't know, he's the author of Borrow Smart, Retire Rich book. He also the creator of Borrow Smart University. He has so many accolades. I gotta be spending like 2 hours introducing this guy. He has been a financial educator for many, many years. He does strategic planning for big companies like Schwab, Ameriprise. As a matter of fact, if you go to Ameriprise website, you're gonna find Todd's new videos who have been watched by millions of consumers. He also is a publisher. He creates content for the real estate industry and for the mortgage industry. He does a phenomenal mentor program that happens every year. I actually been in 6 or 7 meetings, just phenomenal coaching program for loan officers, financial planners, and entrepreneurs. And also he has several tools and calculators for consumers to manage the debt. So for more information on Todd, just go to kendalltodd.com, and also I'll be connecting in the end of this video a link for his website information. Todd, I'm so happy that you're here and giving this opportunity for us to learn from you. I appreciate you, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's good to be
So
with you.
I was watching your videos on Ameriprise website, and then I was like, you know, you're talking about money, and money is a subject that we all want to learn more, right? Because money and our relationship with money impacts our quality of life. So I want to create a context here. So in your opinion, what is money? What is money?
It's a great question, because there's an assumption we want to learn about money, and in reality, we just want to make a lot more money, right? And when you actually ask someone, what is money? Someone asked me one time, they said, you know, what do you really love? And I said, I don't know, what do you mean by that? He said, well, if you aren't sure, ask yourself or watch where you spend your time, because that'll tell you what you love, right? If you spend all your time working, then you love work. And I was like, well, at that time in my life, especially, I was younger, had a lot of energy. I said, yeah, I spend all my time working. He's like, well, why are you working so hard? I said, well, to make money. And he's like, well, why are you trying to make more money? Well, what's it for? What is money? And it was really a fascinating question, because I really didn't, I had ideas about money, security, etc., but I really didn't have a working definition of money at the time. And I became really curious about, you know, what is money? I mean, what are the different aspects of money and the different definitions of money? Yeah, I'll kind of bring up a PowerPoint we use over here for some consumer education. And we spend so much of our time thinking about money. I mean, think about it. You're working. When you're not working, you're thinking about money, and yet we don't always think about what is it. We spend time thinking about how to get it,
Okay.
Where to spend it, how to save it, where to save it, how's it going to be taxed, will we have enough of it? I mean, we're always at some level having this dialogue with ourselves about money. And you know, there's this wonderful book that I'll tell you about that is going to be something I would recommend as a resource. It's called Your Money or Your Life.
Okay.
And the central premise, or the way I like to describe it, is just imagine that someone came up to you, Roberto, and they put a gun to your head, and all you heard them say was, your money or your life. Now you got that steel pressed against your temple. They're saying your money or your life. What are you going to do?
Take everything. Take everything.
Sure. Because if you don't, and you choose wrong, and they take your life, then the money's somewhat irrelevant, isn't it?
Yep.
So the premise of this book is, I understood it in the exploration, and I've read hundreds of books about money, and there are a lot of great books out there. What was unique about this particular approach was that what he was saying is, imagine that gunman is coming for you, and the gun itself is moving so slowly. It's just coming at your temple so slowly that you never recognize it until you're 92, you're on your deathbed, and you realize what? that you spent your entire life working for money, and guess what? Your money or your life. Your life is over.
Wow.
You know, your life is over, and you've been a slave to something that you maybe know very, very little about. And money plays people in a lot of different ways. So I really realized that I was a bit of a slave to money, or to the idea of money. I didn't understand it. And what I did understand about it was things like a budgeting, right?
Uh-huh.
And budgeting is a lot like dieting. It's based on deprivation. A deprivational motivation simply does not work. It's been proven that if you really want to lose weight, you begin to watch what you eat.
Okay.
You count calories and you look at where you're eating and how much you're eating. And what you realize is that most of your eating is habit-based. We don't eat when we're hungry.
Okay.
We eat when we want something crunchy. We eat when we've got some free time and we just, looking for something to do. We sports snack, in the way we also sport shop. A lot of our spending is habit-based. It's pattern-based. And that when you start looking at and bringing that awareness to sort of your spending, you start to realize a lot of your spending is just habit-based. When you realize that, and you realize, I don't really want this, you don't spend the money. And when you don't spend the money, you have more money left over. So what goes into this pattern, this spending, has a lot to do with your stories about money.
Okay.
And there are lots of different stories that people have about money, whether they realize it or not. The base street level story about money is sort of, we'll call it the ATM machine level. It's your cash flow, it's your folding money, it's your debit card, your credit card. It's the pedestrian level of how you interact with money on a daily basis. Just think of it as monthly cash flow. Do I have enough this month? Do I have more month than money this month? Do I have more money than month this month? Because if I have more month than money, I have to borrow to maintain my current lifestyle. If I have more money than month, that extra cash and cash flow can be used for savings for some other things that I might want in the future that I don't need right now. It could be retirement, a new car, a home, whatever. But at a neighborhood level, if you think about going just beyond your day to day, there's all of your thoughts about money as it relates to power and recognition. We could live in a nice cinder block home, right, in a neighborhood, and that would provide us the shelter that we need. But we have a 2-car garage. We have 3 bedrooms. We have family rooms that we very rarely visit, that are being heated and cooled and, and have to be furnished, right? And so you realize that so much of the money dynamic has very little to do with food, because you could eat really basic food every day, but we often go out and spend $100 on a nice meal. It has to do with being at a nice restaurant, living in a nice home, driving a nice car, because of how it makes us feel. And then there's a city level. City level is like, it's your money DNA that came from the relationship with money that was established as a child from watching your parents. If your parents are like my parents, they were always talking about money.
Yep.
They didn't talk about it directly, but they talked about, should we get this or not? Should we get that or not? Should we wait to get this now or get this later? Should we buy a new car? Really, everything seemed to revolve around money, and you pick that up as a kid. So you have a DNA that's a patterned relationship with money that came from your family that you want to look at. And then for the first time ever, we've got this global vision of money. I mean, how many of us thought a year or 2 or 3 years ago that we'd be intimate with Greece's current, bond situation and the euro currency? And I mean, money is globally now something that's it's always in front of us. So all 4 of these stories are playing out. And I like to say they're playing you, because unless you're aware of the stories and aware of the relationship that you have to money, you're in bondage to it. You're not able to truly make a choice. Your choices are made for you based on patterns.
I remember one of the great events that you did in your mentor coaching program. You talk about the concept of money awareness. What is that specifically?
Yeah, so that has so much to do with this idea of deprivation. Most people are grossly inadequate at estimating things.
Okay.
And this has been proven again and again. There's all kinds of great stories and books about asking people to estimate, what percentage of Africa is black or white, and how much money will you need for retirement. People just they don't have a way to estimate. So if I asked you something simple like, what do you make per hour? And we've done this in consumer workshops. We ask people a simple question. What do you make per hour? You got to put a number in there. Tell us what you think it is. We then take them through an exercise where we take their actual income from last year, add up the hours that they spent working, how many hours in the office, driving to work, that's working. You wouldn't be driving 30, 40 minutes commute back and forth if you weren't working. So that's work time. How much work time did you spend? Divide it by that. Come up with an hourly rate. Now, back out taxes, because we know that if you make $100,000 a year in your career, you don't get to spend 100. It might be 75 or 80,000. So you got to back out your tax bracket, and that leftover amount is the amount you have to spend on an hourly basis. Imagine if you went through your life. Well, currently you're living a life, and in your mind you say, I make about $40 an hour. That means when you make decisions, you're implicitly doing the math. You walk to a counter to buy a DVD, or you're not buying a DVD, you're checking out for something else, and you see a DVD. Oh, it's the Beauty and the Beast Disney version with the extended Blu-ray, and it's $19.95. We make this decision that, that's about a half hour of my life.
Okay.
Right? Because that's about $20. I make about $40 an hour. What we found is that most people overstated their income by anywhere from 35 to 65%. We had people that overstated by 150%. Imagine you think you make 40 an hour, and you find out that you actually have $15 an hour net spendable as your current income or earnings. You're applying this ridiculous metric, right? I mean,
you're never going to win. You're never going to win.
You're always going to have more month than money in that environment and you don't understand why. And it's not about deprivation. Awareness is about simply saying, okay, I make $22 an hour. That's my net spendable. So now, if you knew that you made $22 an hour net spendable, and you're going to buy the DVD, you can now accurately connect that DVD costs you an hour of your life.
Yes.
Would you trade 1 hour of your life, if you were there on that deathbed, for that DVD? Would you? And what some people is, I want to watch the movie. I don't have to own the movie. I bet it's on Netflix. I'm already paying $12 a month for Netflix. They watch it on Netflix. Or they rent it and pay $4 for it. But what starts to happen is it's not about deprivation. You start to become more creative about how you engage and how you spend money. So the best definition ever of money that I've ever heard is that money universally is something that we trade our life energy for.
Okay.
And that's always true. And the real kicker here, and when I first thought about this, is if I'm spending money I've earned, I'm trading my life for what I'm buying in that moment.
Wow.
I've worked for 3...
Can you say that again? Pause and say again, because that's such a powerful distinction.
Yeah. So let's see if I can remember.
I remember.
So in the moment when I am spending $1 or $30, I am really just spending my life energy. I spent time and energy to make that money, and now I'm spending that reserve for something. What's really a kicker is if I borrow money for something that I can't afford to pay for today, I'm pledging future life energy.
Wow.
So if I go see a sweater I want, it's $100. I don't really have the 100. I'll put it on the credit card. I'll pay it off over the next month or two. What are you doing? You're pledging your future life energy to earn money to pay for something that you're using now. And what so many Americans end up doing is they overcommit, they overpledge. And one of the other exercises we would do is we would figure out what is your fixed monthly expense. We all know, right? If we don't get up this month and work, we got taxes, FICA, FUTA, we've got car payments, we've got all these expenses. What percent of your time is committed based on your hourly rate?
Yep.
And imagine if you divided your fixed expenses into your hourly rate and you knew that you've already got next month 120 hours of your life is pledged just to pay for that. You
Wow.
again, the awareness starts to get you creative in saying, I don't want to know going into each month that I've already pledged 70 to 80% of my working time just to pay for the stuff that I've already got today
Okay.
that I've financed based on a pledge of future energy. I want to start taking that number down.
So
So
we
it's a
talk
really
about
cool.
money. We talk about money awareness, being aware of trading our life to money. What a powerful concept. How about money fulfillment? Is another concept that I learned from you, and I think our friends here, they gotta know what is money fulfillment. Explain to them what is money fulfillment.
All right. So from a money awareness standpoint, once you start to become aware of how you spend money, the question that can really change your relationship with money is, did or will this expense that I'm about to make, which I am making as a pledge of life, my life energy, I
Okay.
spent 10 hours of my life to make that money, to be able to spend it now on this item, will this item bring me some fulfillment? I traded 10 hours of my life for it. Is it going to be fulfilling? That little question can change your relationship with money dramatically, because you're saying now, this isn't about deprivation. You're just simply saying, if I spend my life, if I trade my life for money for something and then I go spend it, it should damn well be fulfilling, right?
Do you consciously, because you have been around financial planning, consulting, money management, talking about money, do you consciously ask this question right now, or it is unconscious for you?
Absolutely. I ask it when I pay bills and I'm going through my bills on my credit card. When I have saved thousands of dollars literally a month in eliminating things that were pattern spending. I had stuff on my credit card, I didn't even know what it was for. And I just didn't even take the time to, it's just there every month. I just pay it, right?
Uh huh.
And when I started getting into this, I'm like, I'm paying $35 a month for something. I'm not even sure what it is. That's an hour of my life I'm trading for something that is not fulfilling. What is it? And I would go find out what it is. And as I got into it and I got more excited about the whole concept and realized that the more I lowered my spending while maintaining my fulfillment, I was just picking up free time. I no longer had to spend time to make money for stuff that wasn't fulfilling. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing more innate than the desire to be fulfilled. Food, friends, family, what's that about? It's all about what?
Yeah.
Being
Man,
more
what
fulfilled.
what the biggest takeaway for me is about every time I'm purchasing something, I'm trading my life for the good, the service, whatever it is. What a great takeaway. For our listeners today, what are because the whole idea of these interviews is 3 questions and 3 actions they can take today to improve their relationship with money or their situation. What are 3 things they can do today to improve their condition?
All right. So the first one, and I challenge people, if you're serious about money awareness and you really want to, start a journey that could change your life in many different ways, the first step is track how you spend money for 30 days.
Okay.
You can do it with a paper journal, with a notebook, or whatever. Credit cards are great because, I use credit cards because they give me a wonderful footprint of how I spend money. But there's money, there's cash that you spend, there's other things. For 30 days, when money comes into or out of your life, you simply write it down.
Okay.
I've had guys that get those little small note spiral pads and they keep it in their pocket or it's in their purse or whatever. Every time I spend $5 at Starbucks or I got paid today, $3,982 net came in today, I paid mortgage today, all I'm asking you to do is to track your spending for 30 days. This is never about judgment. Okay, this is a key thing you have to get away from. I've not used that word, but it's not about judging what you're doing. It's simply awareness. Awareness is neutral. How do I spend money? What's my pattern? Do I spend more when I get stressed? Do I sport shop when I'm mad? I mean, just look at how you engage with money and your relationship. After you've done that for 30 days,
Okay.
and I found you want to do this first, then go get an account at mint.com if you don't already have one.
Okay.
Mint.com allows you to aggregate all of your accounts, checking, savings, credit card, mortgages, car, auto, etc. And it allows you in one place to see all that money flowing in and all that money flowing out. I've had people go straight to Mint. And I used to say, go right to Mint and set up the account. But the problem is it's still graphs and charts. So you don't have the same connection with money that you do if you just track your spending for 30 days.
Okay.
All right, then get your Mint account and start to look at that to see where's the money flowing in, where's it flowing out. It actually even tells you percentage-wise whether you're spending more or less each month on clothing or heating and air conditioning or car. You can see how am I compared to other people on these expenses. Again, it's not about judgment. It's simple awareness to get familiar with money. And a third thing would be, the resources we have, the free course we have, you're going to tell people about is something that we developed to help educate consumers like you about this idea of money, money awareness, money fulfillment. And of course, Your Money, Your Life, the book I mentioned, is of all the books I've read, to me, one of the best because it doesn't try to tell you what to do with money. It tells you how to understand the relationship you have with money and then really start to build on that. And it truly is. It's a journey over time.
What is the name of the book?
Your Money or Your Life. It's that whole idea that every single moment that gun is moving closer and closer to that temple, and you need to ask yourself, where do you spend the majority of your time?
Okay.
And one of my other favorite questions is, if you weren't being paid for what you're doing today, would you still be doing it?
Okay.
Because if the answer is no, there's another thing you need to look at. Are you literally selling yourself down the river, so to speak, because of money? When in reality, for some people, they believe that's what they have to do. They just don't realize that, if I wasn't being paid for what I was doing right now, I'd still do it. I love what I do. And I also get paid for it. That's what you ultimately want to start to aspire to. And that becomes much easier when you start to understand your relationship to money.
Okay, so start tracking. What was the biggest breakthrough that you experienced when you start tracking your 30-day expense? What happened to you?
I realized I had over $1,000 a month of spending that had no fulfillment value to me whatsoever. They were memberships, subscriptions, things that I was asking my wife, what is this? And she's like, I don't know. I thought it was something you had. Little things like we went through the cable channels and realized we were spending $200 a month and we had all these movie channels and neither of us were watching these other channels. So when you get excited about this game and you go, okay, I like cable, I like HBO a lot. I don't really watch Cinemax and Showtime and these other things. I don't watch these other channels, these sports channels that I have, these extended flights. That was $50, $60 a month right there. I started looking at things like my insurance and my car insurance going, I've got the lowest deductible. I can pay for a deer hitting my car. I can pay $1,000 deductible if I need to. So I changed my policy from a $250 a month deductible to $1,000, and my premium went down by over $100 a month. Our policies, I'm like, that's $1,200 a year. I view $1,200 a year not as $1,200 of more money, but if 20 more hours of my life I got back that I don't have to work to fund something that really had no financial benefit to me. So it became a game. I found a lot of savings, and that creates a lot of freedom. As you lower, your net expenses, you accelerate your freedom point, the point where your passive income, it can support you without you working at all. And that's a fun point to aspire to, just that point in life where truly work is completely optional for you.
Awesome. What are 3 resources for our friends here who are listening to us? If they want to take this conversation further, what are 3 resources you recommend for them?
Well, I'd recommend that you definitely start the course. You're going to tell them about that, I believe, at the end here. But I mean, we've put a course together. We spent a couple of years doing it. It's just something that we wanted to do. It's free. It's not free. It doesn't cost you any money, but it costs you time, and time is money. But if you're willing to invest that time, we've had hundreds of people finish this course and say that they have a totally different perspective and view on money, that they have sort of a certain freedom that they didn't have before they went through that. I would read the book. Go to Amazon, order Your Money, Your Life. Read that book. It's a wonderful supplement as you're going through the materials. And if you don't have time to take the course and you have some time to do some reading, get that book.
Do you have resources in your website, Kendall Todd? Do you have calculators, financial calculators?
We do actually. It's at What Is Enough. This particular, at Kendall Todd, we have the Bar Smart.
Okay.
And there's a lot of that stuff is in there. The Bar Smart software and the university and things. That there's wonderful material and tools there. But, in this conversation, talking about money, go to whatisenough.org / is it InfluenceOlogy?
Yeah, InfluenceOlogy, yeah.
Yeah, whatisenough.org / InfluenceOlogy.
How many weeks are the online course?
It's up to you. It's a 12 it's 12 classes, but you can take it as fast as you want. So if you get through a class in 3 days, you can start the next class in 3 days. If it takes you a month, it takes you a month. There's some classes that require more time. Like the first class is tracking your expenses for 30 days and seeing if you can just discipline yourself to do that. I've had people say, I couldn't do it. And what that meant is they really weren't willing to even look at how they were spending.
I cannot wait to start it, my course. I cannot wait to start it. I'm going to include the link in the end of this video here, guys. Let's do it together. I'm taking his course. It's free. Like Todd said before, the only investment you have to do is our time. I'm doing it. I want to make sure you do it with me. It's going to be a great fun. Todd, thanks so much for...
Hey, thanks, man.
I appreciate your knowledge, your friendship. You're a great mentor for me, for InfluenceOlogy, for Jeff. Thanks so much, my brother.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.